She's just somebody you always want to see rebound. And I think when you make a really great reality personality in terms of casting or the network, they need somebody who's always going to have a story and tell a story. Have a story and tell a story. So Luann is great. Now we got to talk about the great Kenya Moore. Kenya Moore will always be the most important thing from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Kenya Moore on another level. Whether she does Real Housewives of Atlanta, whether she leaves Real Housewives of Atlanta, where she comes back and gets a spinoff, whether she goes to do another TV show, she is. I was born in the 80s, so I was growing up in the 90s, and yes, Kenya Moore was specifically and significantly that girl. She really was. So to kind of make it as if, oh, you're a has-been or you're from the 90s. Thank you. If you were there, I was there. You know what I mean? I'm turning 20 years old around the year 2000, so I remember the legend that was Kenya Moore. And, all the things she did on the show. I'm talking about the Kenya Moore hair care, the Gone with the Wind Fabulous. Like, there is just nothing that could ever stop the great Kenya Moore in terms of her success. Now, will she continue to push and sort of be the most time after time, and you do have to kind of be like, ooh, this is a lot, Kenya. Yes, she will. She's not somebody that you do watch and be entertained by in the TV space, and you're like, oh, she's perfect. But she's pretty close to perfect. She's gorgeous. Coming from the history and the background that she always speaks upon, not having a mother in her life, and even what that could do in terms of her confidence, but I think also her fortitude to push through. That's what makes her so great. So anyone who ever had the concept of Real Housewives of Atlanta was something before her. No, it wasn't. It didn't start till season 5 when the great Kenya Moore, came through with the Gone with the Wind Fabulous. And yes, you could try your very best to try to make fun of her. And here's the thing you don't want to think about too, is why would you make fun of somebody who had such a big career at a time? And at that time, when you were trying to succeed, the elements were a little bit different. You had to get casted. It was much more rich. You can't put the comparison of nowadays, a new Real Housewives of Atlanta cast member is the same as Kenya. Look they're booking this and they're booking that and they're booking this. That didn't happen before. If you were put on back in the day, if you got an opportunity back in the day, it's because you were something. You didn't get to take to social media and create like a messy, controversy. And then, that buzz sometimes turns into a monetized situation. People want to work with you, et cetera, et cetera. Kenya was different. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to say, if you're not of my age bracket, I'm in my 40s. We remember what Kenya Moore meant to so many people. She really did light it up. She was our girl of the 90s. So never make fun of that. And you also can't knock the fact that how wonderfully she did on the show. Yeah, was she embarrassed? Did she take a shot at love and it didn't work out? I mean, that is so true for everybody. We're always making these decisions that when we look back, we're like, how did we get here? But she has her beautiful daughter. Kenya Moore continues to push through business-wise, and she's just the type of cast member, much like a Cynthia Bailey, also if you remember what Cynthia Bailey meant, she was it. These Cynthia, Kenya, they were so powerful and they really shined in their time. So of course, Real Housewives of Atlanta, they would do the same. But that's not to say anybody who has a name makes for good reality TV. That's very specific. Not everyone who makes has a name from the past you could just bring onto a show. It takes a very special cast member, and I think Kenya Moore really was wonderful, and she was that good. I could talk about Kenya Moore forever and ever, and if you think or search through the channel here, you will see that I talk about Kenya Moore a bunch. I was doing Real Housewives of Atlanta, who would be the Mount Rushmore of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, and it would not be Nene Leakes. No. It would be Kenya Moore, Candy Burris, so on and so forth. So search the channel and you can find that. Now I'm going to talk about the wonderfully iconic Melissa Gorga. But before I do, if you wanted to like, comment, subscribe, and support this channel, here is how you would do it.
For more randomness, hit the Patreon at patreon.com/randomlyronniejr. Did you remember to like, comment, and subscribe? Oh, come on, stop being so lazy. This show has no budget, but whose fault is that if you don't like, comment, or subscribe?
Okay, so How do I love Melissa Gorga as a reality TV superstar? Let me count the ways. Melissa Gorga is
Hey, Ronnie Jr.